What's up, everybody? JD here. I hope you're doing well today. Got an EDC update for you. Really excited to go over these with you. I really think I've dialed in my everyday carry for like the last year, the way that I kind of carry everything. Anyway, let's jump into it. All right, guys, we're going to go over the companion carry organizers first. This is kind of just I have multiple of these, but this is just kind of really a synopsis of what I'm carrying. So I have a titanium pin. This one here is the Big Idea Design Titanium Mini Side Click. This is great for my companion carry loadout. I also have my Raylight Mini Pineapple. This one here is more of a AAA sized carry EDC, and I did opt for the Sagaha pattern. I really like this one a ton. Still no tritium insert on this particular one. Just hadn't gotten around to it, if I'm being completely honest with you. I've been debating whether or not I want to go with a Timascus button before I put an insert in here. So far, I've just been carrying it as is. This is dark washed, and it really matches the mini side click here from Big Idea Design very well. And as I mentioned, I carry a lot of my companion carry gear in my ARC company organizer. This is the Quick Draw XL. So pretty much the way that I use this one is I kind of obviously carry the pin in the pin holder, and then I have my pineapple that I keep in this slot here. And then what'll happen here is usually like a slip joint or a mini, like the Benji OTF or a, oh, here's another great example. So something like this will go into this pocket really nice. This is the Kaiser Nice Guy. Great option. Looks like it's almost a 3-finger knife, but it has that dedicated 4 choil on there. So I can really use this one, and it's a nice lightweight option. And then another example, and we'll bring this out here in a little bit, is going to be like a mini growler. These fit very nicely in the pocket organizers. The other one that I have on the table gets the most use out of all of them, not this particular one, but these. I have 3, black, blue, and this gray one. This is the Rambler XL, along with my Raylight Land Apple. This one I like a lot because it's more of a hand filler for me with the larger hands, a little bit thicker. They did a nice job with the dark wash, and I did go ahead and just install the tritium inserts here on the slots. Very easy to do. If you're interested in that, there's plenty of videos that I have out there with it. Rechargeable battery as well. And then I alternate between the top click and side click of my tactile turn mini pins. This one here is the slim mini click, and then I have the mini clicker, which is just the top click. But a fantastic little knife. It has not actually, I think they're both, if I recall correctly, I think they're both on the original ink cartridge. I have refills ready to go for when they dry out, but I really carry this one a little bit differently. I let this slide all the way in because it can do so, and then the Land Apple just fits perfectly in there. And then I carry more of a full-size knife, and I'll demonstrate that a little bit here later because I don't want to give away all of the carry, but let's go ahead and jump into the exciting stuff. All right, so first we're going to do a really quick fixed blade update. Still carrying the mini harpoon. I love this one. I use the pocket clip here to carry this on Fridays and sometimes over the weekend. This is just a really thin, slicey 3V blade that is coated to prevent corrosion resistance. Just a great slicer, great worker, and just a really easy carry for when I want a pocket fixie that I'm going to be using kind of hard that day. And then the other one here is going to be, again, still carrying their Astronauts little buddy in the S90V, since it's more of an EDC. This one here I do a lot of cutting with, but not really anything hard use or heavy duty per se on it. Like, I'm not abusing it and batoning with it. Not that I think you could, a pocket fixed blade, but it's just such a great carry. I really like this one a lot. These are kind of 2 of my staple pocket fixies that I carry a ton of, so I really like these a lot. All right, so actually 3 companion carry knives. We'll do them all together. It's going to continue to be one of my favorites, is the Spear Hog. This kind of has kicked the Hedgehog out of the pocket a lot more here lately, but I really just like this loadout with the frag pattern, or not the frag pattern, but the mill titanium rather, and the S90V blade on here, super slicey hollow grind. I like this one a lot. One that's really kind of newer companion carry wise is going to be my TACCOM Zipper Utility OTF. I love this. As you can see, it's gotten a ton of use in the short amount of time that I've had it over the last several weeks. I do a lot of cardboard box breakdowns with this one, just from stuff coming in and out on the channel a ton. I really like that. And then last but not least is going to be the Benji. Now, I will admit, when I got the Benji in, it was very toothy, so it would open things very nicely. But if I wanted to do detailed work with it, it was a little too toothy, so I did have to give it about 20 strops on either side, alternating towards the end there to get it to be a little bit more fine. Still very toothy, but it is a shallow grind on here. Great, again, for opening things, trace cut and utility cut. And it is a little, like I said, 5th pocket carry. It's a 3-finger little blade. Very powerful opening and closing. I like that. It fires very nicely. Very nice little, well-built little, like I said, 5th pocket OTF. All right, let's get into the main stuff now. All right, so first, the most carried knife is definitely going to be the Berg Blades Alpha. It has been now 5 straight days in the pocket for me with this particular one since I've gotten it back from the pocket clip mod, where a little shim was created to sit underneath of here and just give enough left for it to not kind of be able to rotate, so it sits in that pocket section. Excellent ergos. The magnet cut steel on here seems to be done very well. Lots of milling for weight reduction internally. I did upgrade to the multi-row bearings for the skiffs, so I really like this knife a lot. Great lock bar access. It is a fuller that is great for the reverse flick, and then it has a front flipper, which I really like as the alternate means of opening. Now, for me personally, I can't really get my thumb in there easily. I kind of got to come in at an angle, I've learned, and kind of dig in, and then I can flick it out. It does work okay in that regard, but not something that I think is intended as the primary means of deployment. Now, one of the knives that I like to companion carry, there's 2 that kind of go with this particular one. First is going to be the Concept Saiben. I want to say the Saiben, looking on the table, I do apologize, I'm going from memory. I didn't really think about that before I started this, but I think this is my #1 companion carried knife over since the last update. I'm not quite sure how many months it's been. I think it's just been 1 month, but really like the Saiben. I think a lot of people have slept on this one. Now, I get it, the aesthetics are probably not going to be for everyone, but man, functionality, I don't know if you'll be able to tell how much use it gets. I'll try my best to get an angle here where you kind of can see, but I've cut with this one a ton. S35 yen, am I remembering that right? Yep, S35 yen. It's held an edge really well. The plunge termination is pretty good. I'd have liked a little bit more of a sharpening choil, but the stop pin lands back far enough on it to where you could put a little sharpening choil in there if you needed to, which I probably will do when I go to finally sharpen this one. It is a tight 4-finger grip, but a 4-finger knife, for a companion carry knife, the spoon and everything on here and the lock bar access and the race washers on it, really great. This is just an really well-built companion carry knife that I've really enjoyed, like I said. With this particular combo, I know aesthetically it doesn't look good. I actually am trying to research if I can find someone that can dark wash the handles for me. I'll probably go ahead and just leave the hardware black, and then I'll go ahead and do an etch and stone wash myself on the S35 yen. That's pretty easy to do. I just don't have a media blaster to do the dark wash on the handles. The other way that I like to carry it is with the Mini Nova. I think this is probably, after the Saiben here, the second most carried, yeah, definitely the second most carried companion carry knife that I have in the collection. I love this here. It is, again, a tight 4-finger knife for me, very comfortable ergonomically, surprisingly slicey. Also have installed skiff bearings on this one as well, and they have broken in very nicely. It has remained tight for me since I've done that install. I think I did put thread locker on this one. I think Vero's had like a really shallow, small pivot bolt on it, and I think those typically I do install, or I do put a little bit of thread locker on there. I can thumb flick this one a little bit easier than the Berg blades, but again, it's one that you kind of got to dig in a little bit to get into. I don't have to hit it at the same angle. And then this one here, I just got to remember I got to come down, because this one is this one's the stone washed, so I think it's smoothed out a little bit on that front flipper, so I just got to come down a little bit and hit this one, and it does work. And absolute monster for that reverse flick. So this is kind of the loadout that I've carried. This is being my most carried with the Berg Blades Alpha. I carry the Mini Nova and the Cybin with this particular loadout the most. All right, second most carried is definitely going to be my WE-XL. Still really love this design. It's gotten a ton of use. Sorry, I don't think I did a great job cleaning these up before the video here. There's still a little bit of gunk on this one, probably because I carried this yesterday, and I think I remembered opening some Amazon packages. I will say, even though I don't love the bead blast, I feel like the bead blast, at least on the WE knives, do clean up very well. You got some diamond plated texturing on that flamed anode, looks really good. Nice lock bar access. This is a very lightweight knife for its size. You got a nice thin hollow grind, so it is super slicey. And then afterward, the blade stock on here, very thin. I'm able to easily choke up, got tons of space behind the blade's edge, and my fingers rest comfortably. And if I needed to, if I wanted to get a little bit more leverage on it and, be able to kind of control the cut out towards the middle of the blade, obviously, I can choke back and still get a nice 4-finger grip. This one here also has skiffs installed. Very nice detent. It is a thumb stud only, which I'm okay with because I feel like it does, in a closed profile, keep it nice and clean. This is another knife I know is probably going to be very subjective as to the aesthetics, but I really dig the design on this one and the Cybin. I think they kind of, just to bring it out here, not that I companion carry it with this one, but I think they have a similar inspiration from their aesthetic perspective and their ergo perspective. I know they're different, don't get me wrong, but I think that they kind of have a similar vibe to them, I want to say. But as far as the companion carry, again here, the Concept Tarkin, which I've really, really loved, which really surprises me. I am not really a traditional thumb disc guy. I do appreciate the fact that it does keep it nice and clean. Since you don't need studs on this one, you can keep that blade tucked in even further. Nice tight jimping here for that front flipper. I can pretty much hit that anywhere on that front flipper. I don't think I've ever really missed. And then I really like the thumb disc kind of being able to go underneath to reverse flick, and then nice tight jimping on that thumb disc to deploy it on the opening. I still haven't sharpened this one. I'm probably just going to sharpen out the subtle Japanese tanto on here and just into a drop point. This is super thin and slicey. The static wash feels very slick, so it just moves through the material very well. A thinner overall design, so it feels very gent-esque to me, like it's going to be a very minor carry in the pocket. You're not going to really notice its presence. It's not going to print very thick. And then because it is tall and it is slightly contoured, it's still very comfortable in the hand. So that is one that I like to companion carry with the WE, which I do a lot. And on occasion, I will break out the Nova and kind of switch it up and have these companion carry that way. So we won't go back over the Nova again, but just kind of thought it would be fun to show how I'm carrying these loadouts instead of just showing them all to you. All right, my next most carried is going to be a Grail pickup, guys. That is the McNeese Mac 2 3.5-inch Gen 2 with magnet cut steel, very dark stonewash on here, and they're calling this the Atomic Blue. Kind of has the bronze underhue on the, what I would call more like the blurple-ish color. I really have enjoyed this a ton. It's not one that I've been using. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't really hard use or heavy use this one, just because of the price point on it. I still, for some reason, just have this mental block about a certain price point for me. Kind of cuts off around 3, where I just start to get a little leery about hard use and heavy using it. But very comfortable. The Stonewash really has smoothed this out. I feel like from the Gen 1 that I originally handled to the Gen 2, it's really improved. I also enjoyed email exchange back and forth with Amy McNeese on this particular knife. The explanation she gave me is that the bearings will cut initially into the titanium during the break-in period, but once they've cut their trail, that it will not cut any further into the titanium, which I believe is very similar to how Aries does on the, I'm sorry, Koenig does on the Aries. I said that backwards at first, but after the initial, and it has, there's been no side-to-side plate developed on here, but it's turned into a guillotine. When I first got it, it was originally a shaker. And then she said they heavily carbonized the titanium. And the same thing after a little initial, which it still hasn't broken in, because again, I have not been heavily carrying this like I do most of the or all the other knives in my collection. But what was explained to me is that it will have an initial cut-in period, and then once it cuts in a little bit, it won't cut any further. The titanium has what she referred to as a little bit of give. And then after that initial little give, that it stops and it hardens and it no longer will move, even against the higher heat treated blade steel. Again, this is what was explained to me when I reached out to them to understand how this works. She also stated that, you want to refrain, because it is carbonized, from doing this. She's like, a lot of people, when they thumb deploy, like to thumb deploy with some wrist. She was like, just normal deployment where you're thumb flicking and reverse flicking is perfectly fine. She said no issues with that. She just warns from like a hard flick where you're like, bam, and you're flicking and thumb wrist. You really don't need to do that. The detent on here creates enough resistance in the lockout position to where you can kind of start to build that ramp up. And then once you have enough ramp, you just got to snap it with the thumb, not your wrist. So I did want to share that. I'm probably going to do a separate video on that, because I actually have people ask me to follow up on that one. So since I don't hard use this one, I kind of open some packages and do some light cutting. What I do like to companion carry with this one is the Arc Form Theory. I've done a bunch of videos on this one. Rayot built M390 thumb ramps instead of studs. Very clean, non-show side, just have the pivot and the lock bar insert on here, and then on the show side, the pivot and the 2 bolts that actually bolt into the titanium. It's a very clean look, generous lock bar access. I do have skiffs on this one as well. I left the factory bearings on here, again, because of how much it cost and that the bearings are going to cut in a certain way. I didn't want to switch out to ceramic. I know ceramic's a little bit harder than the steel, so I think the steel may be having a little bit of give. Probably works together a little bit better with the titanium, so I left this all factory. But here we have the washers internally for the scale and the fat carbon scale and the titanium scale that are going to be hardened and be able to handle those ceramic bearings just fine. This had ceramic bearings. I just upgraded to the skiffs because of the higher ball density. But a great utility blade shape. Again, I didn't clean this one off either. It's been a little bit of a hard go for me here lately, taking on the extra content that I've been doing in addition to EDC stuff. So a little behind my game on cleaning all of these up before presenting on camera. But I thought this was a great companion with it. And since I've gotten it in, I really like to also carry the zipper with it. So that's a nice little duo there that I love and carry together. All right, let's get these out of here. Got 2 more to go and we'll be wrapping up. Next up, definitely my favorite Devo knives duo to this date is going to be the Tall Boy and the Mini Growler. You got S90V on both of these knives. On the Tall Boy, you got a hollow grind. On the Growler, you got a full flat grind, but it's so tall that they're able to get it down to a very, very fine tip. I love the radial pattern on here. They recently re-released some of these variants here without the radial pattern, and or complete new color variants for some of the dealer exclusives. Again, skiffs in the bearing on this one, and the pivot rather. This one here, I love it because it has thumb studs with the opening hole for that reverse flick. Just a great combination, in my opinion, for opening on this one. It's a nice full-sized knife. You can choke up. You got a nice full-size dedicated forged choil there for the detailed work. Vox style jimping here for the pinch grip, which this is great for utility cutting. Nice acute tip, thick enough to be robust, but they got it down with that hollow grind, thin enough to be able to do very laser detailed, acute detailed work with it. You got a 3/4 length back spacer that is polished to match the rest of the hardware. Slightly exposed liner lock, just a beautiful knife. And then I think this is a great companion with this one. The mini growler here, still a full 4-finger knife, but kind of like the Mini Nova, it is a tight 4-finger, full flat grind S90V. They got the full jimping the length on here, so you can, on this particular one, because of the size of it and because of the peel, I can imagine from small all the way up to large hands where your finger will land, or depending on what type of cutting you're going to be doing with this one. I think it really works. Generous lock bar access on this one, all polished hardware. I thought about I picked up an extra clip from the tall boy on here, the titanium one. I thought about thinning out the feet and putting it on here. It would be a little bit longer though, so I got to decide if I really want to do that or not. I went ahead and matched up the 80s camo carbon on here, but I think I left the factory bearings on this one. I think they were smaller bearings. Oops, I have it on laser, my faux pas. Sorry about that. I don't know how I did that. Nope, just kidding. I did install skiffs on this one. Skiffs on it as well. I thought maybe I had left the original bearings, but apparently not. All right, last one, guys. All right, last one is going to be my good old Mannix 2 lightweight with the Applied Weapon Tech scales and Flytanium ball cage. After this video, I'm going to be doing an immediate follow-up on this one. I get so many questions about the assembly on this one, so I just want to post a video out there on it to kind of give some clarification for folks. One of the ones that I do like to carry with this one, I like to carry all of the 5th pocket options with this one. So you got the Spear Hog, you got the Benji here from TACCOM, you got the zipper here from TACCOM. Now, from a color combination, I know these really don't all kind of go together. I don't really have any greens to go with my Minty M4 Blade HQ exclusive Spyderco 2 Mannix lightweight, but I really do just like these from a functionality standpoint. They kind of really work together for me, especially how I'm carrying. If I want something discreet, I'm going to grab one of these out of the 5th pocket. This one here, I'm going to have in that Quick Draw XL with the pin and everything like that, and this will be clipped into the pocket, and then the mini Benji again in that 5th pocket. But really great design. The Applied Weapon Tech scales work really well. Easy 4-finger grip, dedicated forward finger choil for that detailed work. Very easy to control. Very broken in. I love this knife a ton. It gets a ton of use. The DLC on here has held up extremely well considering how much I've cut with this. All I've done is strop to sharpen, and it has been fantastic for me, guys. Just cannot recommend the Mannix 2 lightweight enough to you guys. So let's go ahead and bring them all out here while we wrap up. All of the main carries will be out here first for you to check out. The McNeese Mac 2. I think the next most carried was the WE-XL, and then the Alpha from Berg Blades are the next most main carried. Companion carried here was the Tarkin from Concept, the Arc Form Theory from the Theory from Arc Form. I apologize. Oh, I did miss one. The Devo Knives Tall Boy. Sorry, guys. A lot of knives out here on the table. Then you have the mini growler. You have the Cybin here from Concept as well. I'll put the concepts together over there. Let me move it down a little bit. I think that'll look a little bit better. Moving all of my stuff around now. And then of course we have the Zipper, the Benji, we have the Mini Nova here as well. We'll stick that off to the side here. I know you're probably not going to be able to see it as well, but those are everything that I kind of have carried. My main carries here in front of you, and then everything kind of surrounding them are more or less the smaller companion carries that I put either in an organizer or a fifth pocket. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about the carries that I've had for the month, how I'm carrying it. If you have any questions about any of it, definitely let me know down in the comments below. Links are down in the description. If you use them, it helps the channel, but that is totally up to you. Special shout out and thanks to my channel members. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like, don't forget to subscribe and turn on that notification bell. That's it, guys. I'm out of here. I love you all. I hope you have a fantastic week. Catch you on the next one. Peace.